man hollered down at the log pond, and a team of 8 fly-haunted mules, their coats running with foam, dragged a mud sled overloaded with slabs bound for the fuel pile. Jules looked at his watch. It was a half hour until lunchtime, and everybody on shift was working up to the whistle. The constable, a solemn-looking man, big in the shoulders, walked up slowly. "Do you have business here?" He pushed back a one-dent Carlsbad hat and stared, deadpan, like an idiot, or a man so distracted he'd forgotten to control the look in his eyes. "I got an appointment with the manager to go over some figures." Jules reached out and took the constable's hand, but dropped it as soon as he could without giving offense, thinking that if a corpse could shake hands, it would feel like this. "Some figures," the man said, as if the phrase held a private meaning. From behind him came a strangled shout and the report of a small pistol, sharp as a clap. But he didn't turn around. Jules stepped up onto a cross-tie. "I helped ramrod the Brady mill in East Texas until we cut out last month. The owner, well, he lives up north and sent word for me to come over into Louisiana to look for a new tract. Maybe 2 if they're small." In the distance, 3 men fell fighting out the doorway of what Jules guessed was the company saloon. "This is my 8th mill in as many days." "I was from up north," the constable said, turning to give a brief look at the commotion and then swinging back. Jules noted how he stood, hands in pockets and thumbs flicking like a horse's ears. "The hell, you say? What you doing down among the alligators?" On the porch of the saloon, 2 men were tying the other's hands behind his back, one making the knot, the other kneeling on his shoulders. "The mill manager's office is through that red door over there in the main building," the constable said. "Say, why don't— excuse me." He began walking toward the fight, taking his time going around a broad mud hole, and Jules followed for over 100 yards, stopping in a plinth of shade cast by the commissary. At the saloon, 2 men wearing dark wool caps and suits that fit like a hound's skin hauled the squalling man off the high porch and over toward the mill pond, and the constable caught up with them as they mounted the levee. Jules barely heard him say, "Stop." One of the men, barrel-shaped, his bare chest visible under his suit coat, motioned toward the water. "We gonna give the son of a bitch a swimming lesson," he called. "He owe the house $50 he don't got." The bound man, a big sawyer in overalls, bent his knees and sat on the ground. "Mr. Byron, these Italians is trying to drown my ass." "Oh, no," the fat man said. "We just gonna watch him blow bubbles, then we gonna fish him out. That right, Angelo?" His partner was slim, with a face full of splayed teeth. His response was to tighten his grip on the sawyer's denim collar. "Cut him loose." "I don't think so," the fat one told him, and in a single motion the constable reached under his vest, pulled out a big Colt pistol, and swung it like a hatchet down onto the man's head, putting his shoulder and back into it. Jules stepped closer to the commissary wall, even at this distance seeing the brassy jet pulsing through the dark pants as the man fell sideways and rolled like an oil drum down the levee. The skinny fellow stepped away from the sawyer, showing his empty palms. Above Jules on the commissary porch, a clerk began sweeping boot clods to the ground. He glanced over toward the pond. "Well," he said as though he'd spotted a small, unexpected rain cloud. "Little trouble." The broom did not break its rhythm. "He ought to know better than to hammer them Dagos," he said, turning and working the front edge of the gallery. Jules put a hand to his chin and watched the sawyer stand up and offer his bindings to the constable's knife. He was thinking of letters he had exchanged over the years with a man he'd never seen, the absentee owner of his now-defunct Texas mill. "What's that lawman's last name?" "Who wants to know?" "The man who decides whether this mill gets bought." The broom ceased its whispery talk. "You the evaluation man they said was coming? Well, you can look around and see the timber, but these fellas running things can't sell it. They poke around sending telegraphs all over, but they could..."